Something odd is happening on Capitol Hill. It's not odd that Republicans are pushing for a tax bill that's tilted toward business and the wealthy. It's a return to the argument that benefits at the top trickle down to workers in the form of more jobs and better pay. Whether this would actually happen is a question of its own. Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, they control the White House. This tax bill is the Republican agenda, and advancing political priorities when you have the majority is how representative democracy works. It's just that everything about it is so unpopular. That's the odd thing. There's the legislation itself, which evolves constantly and is therefore hard to pull. Earlier this month, Quinnipiac University asked generally whether Americans supported the tax reform plan. Only 25% of Americans said they did. Why so low? In part, clearly because the effort was seen as benefiting the wealthy at the expense of the middle class. This is not the only poll to show that the reform proposal is unpopular. In October, The Post and ABC News determined that only 28% of Americans supported the plan, presented to the respondents as President Donald Trump's tax plan. Of that number, only 15% supported it strongly. Twice as many people, about a third of all respondents, opposed the measure strongly. With a critical Senate vote looming, President Donald Trump on Wednesday pitched the Republican tax plan as a boon to his working-class supporters, even as independent analyses have indicated that the wealthy and corporations would be the biggest beneficiaries. Our focus is on helping the folks. With a critical Senate vote looming, President Donald Trump on Wednesday pitched the Republican tax plan as a boon to his working-class supporters, even as independent analyses have indicated that the wealthy and corporations would be the biggest beneficiaries. Our focus is on helping the folks. That said, the tax reform measure is actually more popular than the health care overhaul proposals that Republicans in Congress tried to pass earlier this year. Only 13% of Americans wanted to simply repeal the Affordable Care Act, that is, Obamacare, in a July poll. Only a fifth of respondents approved of the final Republican proposal that collapsed in September. It's not new that the Congress hoping to pass this legislation is unpopular. Congress has been more unpopular than popular since 2003, according to Gallup polling. In Gallup's most recent survey, only 13% of Americans approved of Congress, while 81% disapproved. Diving in further, the numbers don't improve. Republicans in Congress are not much more positively viewed than Congress itself. In September, post-ABC polling found that congressional Republicans were viewed positively by only 22% of Americans, and were strongly approved of by only 4% of the country. Democrats in Congress did slightly better, with 35% of Americans approving. Senate Republicans pushed their tax plan past another key hurdle Wednesday, a show of momentum for President Trump's top priority even as frantic negotiations with Republican holdouts made final passage uncertain. The 52-48 vote, with all Democrats opposed, marked an important milestone as Republicans